But there are only Protoss and Terran left in these last two groups, so we're very, very likely to see at least one more toss, and very, very feasible that we'll see one or two more Terrans as well. Koss is, of course, one of the guys in the mix. Happy, one of the guys in the mix. Two very good Terran players.
I'm really excited to see the way that ToD plays out this series against Sjow because, first of all, we saw an amazing series of ToD against Chef. A lot of players don't feel so good about their PVZ. Very much so not ToD, who I was even talking to at breakfast, said he was very, very excited about getting to end game in that matchup. And now he's up against Sjow, who's been showing a lot of shakiness in his recent games.
Yeah, ToD has looked absolutely ironclad. We'll talk a little bit more about it after we introduce these two players. As up here at the 12 o'clock position, this is the red Terran player. This is Sjow. His opponent down here at 6 o'clock, the blue Protoss, is Millennium ToD.
It is ToD.
Le ToD.
ToD. So I always wondered if ToD would actually hit his T and D in that sort of hard way that you do in normal English, ToD. Or whether he just ToD, where it's just like his tongue just sort of flops out.
It's a very soft T, Le ToD.
Le ToD.
Yes. ToD actually does a little bit of casting for the Millennium tournaments. It's a lot of fun to listen to him cast.
Yeah, I remember he did casting in Warcraft 3 as well.
He's got that really cool French accent, and just one of the most knowledgeable guys in the business. Obviously, to play the game at this level, you have to know the game quite well. So.
Can't just focus every other minute. Have to focus all of the minutes.
From minute 1 to minute 51.
That is absolutely correct, which encompasses about half the length of a Terran versus Terran with Goody. We see Sjow has planted down a barracks at the front of his base. We don't see any wall in yet. And Sjow, I really have a hard time pinning down as a style in this matchup. I mean, I would normally say free form, but a lot of times it just comes down to him having a basic tactic that he's going for, structuring his play around that, and then sort of haphazardly throwing down a lot of those unit-producing structures. And I really think that it's recently become kind of a significant leak in his play.
Yeah.
A lot of players have begun exploiting that vulnerability.
Yeah, it's like his builds past 8 to 10 minutes are just not as fleshed out as they are in the first 6 or 7. ToD, on the other hand, has really been I guess cleaning up his play. Prior to him going to Korea, he was just another decent European Protoss, but you've seen just massive improvements in his play since then. And hello there, Sjow with the proxy racks.
Oh, Sjow, it looks like he's setting up a proxy racks right now. Now, if I'm in Show's shoes, what I really want to be doing is trying to get down Tech Lab, so that way I can do one of these Marauder with concussive shell plus marine reinforcement pushes. I do think it's one of the strongest ways to sort of mess with a player early on. This was very popular on 2-player maps like Crossfire, like Xel'Naga Caverns. And now, with Sjow finding where his opponent is, he may as well be playing on a 2-player map. There's that Tech Lab. I fully anticipate the concussive shell rush.
Indeed. Stalker going to be chrono boosted out here for Le ToD. And honestly, the Stalker choice could be problematic. I mean, Protoss player is almost always going to get at least one Stalker, but ToD's going to need a sentry to hold this ramp at some point, because Stalkers versus Marauders, that's not a very close fight.
Looks like Shjow's continuing to place the wall off at the front of his base. And interestingly, Sjow, not going to do the good old standard Marine Marauder push. He's going to be doing a double Marauder push. It's going to be very strong, very hard to read. At this point in time, if you're in ToD's shoes, you're going to be running up that ramp. Oh, this is going to be such a curse. ToD is going to poke up Shjow's ramp. He's going to see a single barracks. He's going to assume the early expand. Oh, no, this is terrible news for ToD.
Yep, just sees the one rack. Sees the researching Tech Lab, though, so it could be something. He's also got the single sentry out, so he'll be able to force field at least one time. He's getting a second sentry as well. And his warp gate research is finishing up. So as long as he doesn't let Sjow just walk right up his ramp, I think he can hold Day9.
I do think that is an accurate statement. I do think this hold will be a little bit easier because he's been devoting so much chrono.
That will be canceled almost certainly.
Oh, the Nexus goes down right at the wrong time, and it looks like ToD does throw down a force field, but he whiffs it and accidentally launches a lot of the Marauders up onto the other side. He's going to need to throw down another force field before he runs out of energy. And where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, no, he misses it. Oh, this is not good news at all. Fortunately, ToD did go 3 gateway.
Yep. Now, what is he going to warp in here? Is it going to be Zealots, or will it be anything other than Zealots?
I would go Zealot, Stalker, Stalker if I were in ToD's shoes. I think that is very much so going to be the strongest play. Looks like he is just going to go all Stalker. Ooh, this could be very risky as there are now 5 Marauders out on the field, and ToD is going to get completely cleaned up. He picks off a good chunk of the Marauders right off the bat, but with 5 Marauders versus 4 Stalkers, even with these probes coming out into the fray, I'm very worried about ToD's chances.
Yeah, ToD taking a lot of damage here. His Nexus, it's taken quite some damage as it's building. He's still able to warp in more and more units, though. Sjow continuing to reinforce. Command Center, yeah, it's gone down for Sjow. So he does have a follow-up to this, 24 workers to 23 workers. And still a little bit of a nail biter, but Sjow, I mean, he's backing off a little. Maybe he wants to push with 4 or 5 Marauders. I guess, yeah, 5 more Marauders going to come and make it happen one more time.
Yeah, again, you have to have at least some Zealots in that mixture if you want to be able to approach the Marauders. It looks like Sjow is advancing forward, doing little nibbles away at that Nexus health. In particular, I like how he's poking, pulling back. This ensures that the Nexus does not begin recharging shields too rapidly.
Yeah, and Sjow is backing way up here. Is he going to go all the way back to his base? No, I guess not.
That's a very odd decision by Sjow.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to know what your opponent's timings can be. I mean, sure, he can come down with 3 units at a time, but you can do good counting, get intel on what units he's building to recognize if ToD's had the time to tech or if he's pinned back to just a couple of gateways.
I think Sjow took the pressure off a little bit too soon. He didn't deal as much damage as it looks like he thinks he did. As, you know, the Nexus did complete. He killed some Stalkers. That's great. But, you know, the worker count, pretty even. 30 probes, 31 probes to 28 SCVs. Sjow will be able to go ahead and secure that natural expansion, but ToD's been mining on 2 bases for about a minute, 2 minutes longer than him. So yeah, this is still, you know, super close game day, man.
And it looks like there is the tech lab. And, you know, interesting to know, you actually get vision of that tech lab when you lift off. That was not the case in good old Brood War. When you abandoned a Marauder, it was dead to you. Could not contribute to you in any regard. So ToD, we do see throwing down that robotics facility. He's not going to be going gateway heavy at this point in time, which often I think is a good transition. If you can get any read that your opponent does not have that much tech and is devoting a lot of energy into the barracks, you can easily just overrun it with a lot of gateways, or hell, just play off standard with a lot of gateways.
I like what ToD's doing here, just pushing forward, taking control of the Xel'Naga towers, keeping Sjow in the dark. He has that I think that's a robo. I can't really see it underneath that barracks. It is, in fact, a robotics facility. Observer on the way out for ToD. And double forge going down. I love this upgrade style of play.
Yeah, I mean, I love the double forge play, but it's interesting that ToD is doing it with that kind of confidence after that opening that nearly killed him off. That takes a very knowledgeable and very bold Protoss to do. Sjow looking unusually defensive in this position. I'm a little surprised, to be honest.
Now, one thing that I'm a bit concerned about, Sjow is building that reactor on his factory. This one barracks will fall. He's about to be pumping out double medevac, and it is quite difficult to deal with a bio-based army under medevacs without higher tech, with no colossi, with no storm, without anything, no charge, no blink. So I kind of think Show's going to have a bit of a window here with his first 2 to 4 medevacs, where he could do a pretty nasty push.
Yeah, Sjow very much so has an intimidating army size. His combat shield is getting close to finish. Going a little bit Marauder heavy, does have 3 tech labs and no reactor barracks. The +1 attack upgrade coming up as well. As Sjow does this push, this is the typical time when he would want to be adding on that 3rd command center. Gateways 4 and 5 also planting for ToD, who's going to have a real... He's going to have a jiffy, to be honest, Mr. Bitter.
What is a jiffy?
He's going to be in a pickle.
Ah, yes, I know what that means. I agree. This is a terrifying army for pure gateway, especially with the medevac support. Oh man, just the fact of the matter is ToD needs something. Well, he's adding even more gateways. 1, 2, 3, 4. Plus 3 is 7 gates with double forge. These upgrades might finish before Sjow arrives, and that'll help. But he's going to need more than just some help, Day 9.
Ooh, we do see that 3rd command center now planning. Observer hanging to the right, and there it is. He looks like he's getting increasingly close to finishing. He's attacking at the angle where the forges are at. Perfect timing on this probe. Spots this attack, pulling right in, and here comes the Guardian Shield. The force fields are up, but that is a lot of Terran units doing massive damage. Yeah. Tons of force fields planting down. ToD needs to desperately finish up those upgrades. He does get them, and Sjow amazingly running low on units.
Surprisingly, those upgrades finish up, and ToD cleans up this force of Sjow, and I am blown away by the fact that his army was able to deal with that Bioforce with no Colossi and with no Templar and with no charge and with no blink. It's just like Gateway beating Marine Marauder. Surprising to say the least. Those were pretty evenly matched armies, I thought, but the fight was kind of one-sided.
However, we are noting 40 probes for ToD. He's going to need to spend a lot of Chrono Boost catching up on that one. And Sjow is running out of stim retreat energy. And back home, Sjow doesn't have that many units.
He lost his whole army, and ToD could do a couple warp ins and then try to make something happen. He's got his Twilight Council building, though, so that tells me he probably doesn't really want to push until he's got either charge or blink. He's going to get charged first here, right?
I think he might just go for 2-2 and not even really spend that much on tech. We do see Sjow going for the 2-1 upgrades, but this is kind of what always worries me a little bit when there's no reactor barracks. You can't rebuild Marines very quickly at all. He has 6 Marines, which at this early phase in the game do end up being quite the damage dealers in your force. There's the +2 attack upgrade being Chrono Boosted away. The Nexus incoming. Will he be getting +2 armor as well? As keep in mind that recent patch, they did drop the cost of those upgrades.
Yeah, we do see that Sjow has taken this gold base, and ToD doesn't seem to have any inkling of an. There's an observer there. Yes, he has a huge inkling. He knows exactly what's up. What is he going to do to punish this? This is something that I feel like he has to respond to.
Well, I think he realizes that he can't do much until that 2-2 is done. And again, you've heard us say this time and time again throughout Sjow's casts. Ordinarily, a gold expansion would be an extremely threatening, game-turning moment, but we see Sjow just does not have the add-ons that he needs to those barracks. I mean, he does have 7 barracks total, but none of these have any add-ons. You can think of this as 3 barracks with Tech Lab, 2 barracks with Reactor, which is a very typical composition on 2 bases. We're going to start seeing Sjow's money climb up very, very high.
He's adding more barracks before getting any reactors. That's kind of an interesting choice. Robotics Bay going down here for ToD, and look at this Warp Prism about a 75% complete. Big push coming here from Sjow. 144 supply army against just the 120 of ToD. You know, ToD was able to hold last time. He's going to need some amazing force fields to do it again.
Ooh, this army is very intimidating. He might just force field to delay. Try to force some pushing by Sjow. Ooh, ToD. Carefully jaunting forward and back.
Oh, observer gets picked off. That's a really nice play there by Sjow, keeping ToD in the dark. So very important. ToD's probably going to want to get another observer over that as soon as possible because you do not want to lose track of a Terran army like that.
ToD playing quite impeccably in terms of those chrono boosts, but had such a rough time recovering from that early push with a slight misread. Now ToD holding up in middle, and it looks like he's going to arrive just too late. Not quite going to hit that 2-2.
Indeed. A couple of Zealots going to harass this gold base. They're going to get a bunch of SCV kills before they finally get dealt with. 2-2 does finish up for ToD. Charge also finishing. So we're going to have 2-2 Protoss army against a 2-1 Terran army at least for now.
Yeah, Sjow's been great on those upgrades.
Yes, he has. Single Colossus also on the way out here for ToD. And Sjow, man, he's about to max out. This is just a little bit of a drop here in the main base, but Sjow is all over it, sees it right away.
Looks like a couple of units there to arrive to deal a little bit of damage, and ToD's not going to have any of that. He warps in a lot of Zealots. Sjow answers by setting up the huge force. Oh, Sjow sees that, and he is going to overrun that with ease.
My gosh.
This army from ToD does not look very large at all, getting torn apart. Oh, my goodness. ToD just GG's right away. That was a very intimidating closing force by Sjow.
That was a little one-sided. Sjow dominated that game from beginning to end. A little bit, we could probably call that a gimmicky opening with the proxy barracks and the Marauder rush play.